What's up, Star Wars fans? Today I want to talk about the Star Wars Rebels ending, more specifically the Epilogue, and how I believe that hints at what we might be seeing in the Ahsoka series. But hey, before we get to that, if you love Star Wars and speculation, then hit that subscribe button and come back again soon for more. But getting back to our topic here, looking at the Star Wars Rebels ending, also known as the Epilogue, we first get a look at Sabine and the capital city of Lothal, and the major thing that Sabine mentions at the opening of this epilogue is the fact that Lothal has remained Empire-free, that at the end of Star Wars Rebels when they fought off the Empire simply didn't return, and so we shouldn't see any Imperial remnant on Lothal. But moving on, the next scene I think is definitely going to have a major impact on the Ahsoka series, because Sabine tells us that one of the Ghost Crew actually leaves Lothal and the known galaxy. She states that Zeb took his good friend Kallus to the new Lasat homeworld, Larasan. So I'm going to say there's a good chance that we're not going to see Zeb Aurelius or his good friend Kallus in the Ahsoka series. And I think there's a couple reasons for this. Dave Filoni already has a plethora of characters to play with in the Mandoverse. He has the Mandalorian, Bo-Katan, Luke Skywalker, Boba Fett, and then of course we also know that he's incorporating Hera Syndulla, Sabine Wren, Chopper, and most likely Hera's son, Jacen Syndulla. So it makes sense that Filoni is going to leave some characters out, and I think Zeb and Kallus may be two of those characters. Not to mention Zeb Aurelius, the giant Lasat, well, he'd certainly be pretty difficult to bring to life in live action. So again, this is just my speculation, but I'm thinking Zeb isn't going to be in the Ahsoka series. That said, moving on here to the next part of the Star Wars Rebels ending, or the epilogue, we get introduced to a brand new character, Jacen Syndulla, and I absolutely believe this is a character we will see in live action. After all, in the Ahsoka series teaser trailer shown at Star Wars Celebration, we saw somebody trying to use the Force, someone that's obviously not that proficient with it, but just starting to use their powers. And I believe that is Jacen Syndulla. The son of Jedi Kanan Jarrus will no doubt be Force sensitive, and it will certainly be heartwarming to see Ahsoka Tano giving Jacen Syndulla some tips on how to use the Force. It would also be interesting if he did tag along on some of the adventures with Ahsoka and Sabine, but I believe at this point he's only 9 years old, which means he's a little young for dangerous adventures. I mean, as a comparison, Ahsoka was 14 years old during the Clone Wars movie when she was first introduced as Anakin Skywalker's Padawan. But moving on here, we have one more major scene where Sabine and Ahsoka meet once again, and I believe this is an actual scene that we will get to see in the Ahsoka series. Again, looking to the trailer that we saw at Star Wars Celebration, we see our first look at a live-action Sabine Wren looking at the same mural that we see in animation during the Star Wars Rebels epilogue. And then of course the big Ahsoka series question will be, will this Rebels epilogue be the first thing we see in the Ahsoka series? And well, it certainly could be, but I've speculated a lot on this question, and I've suggested that Ahsoka is going to be going on some sort of adventure to deal with something like the past, like the fall of her master Anakin Skywalker to the dark side. If you'd like to know more about that speculation, I'll link that video in the cards here and again at the end of the video. But that said, another message from Sabine Wren in this scene is that she always thought her role to help Ezra was taking care of Lothal, and then one day she realized that there was more to this, that part of helping Ezra was actually going to go out into the galaxy and track him down. So I think that tells us a couple things and raises a few questions as well. One, the fact that Lothal is definitely in a good place if Sabine feels like she can leave it. There's probably strong leadership there and good defensive capabilities from any threats in the Outer Rim. But it also raises the big question as to how does Sabine Wren come to realize that Ezra Bridger is out there somewhere and that it's up to her and Ahsoka to go rescue him. And I think it might have been a message from Ahsoka Tano that convinced Sabine Wren that Ezra is actually out there. And as far as seeing Ahsoka at the end of Star Wars Rebels, she has this white cloak and staff, making her seem much more powerful or like the character has gone through some sort of major transition. So again, this is why I don't think we will will see this Rebels epilogue scene at the beginning of the Ahsoka series. I think Ahsoka has an adventure to go on by herself at the beginning of this series, and she is going to go through some sort of major transition before she heads out with Sabine Wren to look for Ezra Bridger. Here on the end screen, I'll have that more in-depth video on what I think happens to Ahsoka at the beginning of the Ahsoka series. That said, I'm Mike, and remember, the Force will be with you always.